Good evening and welcome back. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. But of course you knew that. Why else are you here? It's been a long old winter, but the jump season is drawing to a close. But the same stories apply. Willie Mullins is about 1 to 50 to win the trainer's title. And then, of course, we'll get stuck into Punchestown next week and he'll mop up all the grade ones there as well. But let's not get too cynical too early, because Saturday is an absolutely corking card. I don't know whether it's because of the Mullins factor in the Trainers' Championship, but it seems to have really pumped up the blood of everyone involved at Sandown, and we've got some cracking matchups, big fields in the handicaps as well, and like I said, hopefully a few winners on the show, which should be par for the course pretty much, as it's been over the past few weeks. Keels and Tom have been knocking them in left, right and centre at decent prices as well, so hopefully we can go out with a bang for the jump season and then get properly stuck into the flat. It'll be the end of the jump season, Punchestown and the Guineas, and then, like I said, and then suddenly we'll all be 70 years old and retiring. But that's how time goes. But let's not get too carried away, shall we? And just look at Sandown tomorrow. It is live and interactive, as ever. The chat box is right in front of me. Hello, Tom Leach, Duncan Evans, Darren Walker, Daniel Valentine, Sandra Seed, Lee Richardson, Stephen Hughes, Colin Grogan, Robert Blackburn, Dale Grimble, Brian Galt, and, of course, Cheese. Right, let's chat to the panel, shall we? Absolutely delighted to say that once again I have been joined in the studio by a real life human with a... let's see if you can guess where Keels has been. Let's see if there's any clues whatsoever. Are there any clues? I don't know. I can't work it out.
Yeah, I had a little game of golf. Thankfully, Mr. Bruce Millington paid for this lovely shirt of mine.
Yeah?
Yeah, the golf was good. The punting was, after Tommy's Oscar, it was fairly dreadful, unfortunately, but... yeah, I'm still in good form, I think.
That's what happens when you try and do too many things at once. You can't have a lovely day out on the golf course and then, get properly stuck into 20-runner fields at Ayr, surely.
Yeah, well, I got stuck into them. I did plenty of work for them, but it just didn't come off.
Oh yeah, I'm not suggesting that you found it in. You never do that. I'm just saying that that you won the golf and you lost on the horses, so.
Yeah, I won the golf.
Out,
I won the golf through luck,
right.
And lost on the horses through bad judgment.
Right, fair enough.
So let's hope it turns around.
Yeah, let's hope it turns around indeed. Tom Segal joining us from home as well, and just the words echoing in my ears from last week about class horses. Tom, class horses are found by class tipsters, and quite frankly, I believe you're so good, Tom. You could also win over 3 miles if you so fancied it.
Not anymore. I couldn't. Not Ross. No chance. I couldn't get a mile these days.
No, is it that bad?
No.
Yeah.
Bit of a gammy knee, dodgy back. I'd still you nicely threw Keels under the bus there, saying he did no work for Ayr last week.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said at all. I didn't say that. I said you're trying to...
Very unprofessional work, Mr. Kealy. No work from you. That's what he said.
I happily do no work for the rest of my life, mate. That's for sure.
I did. Look, I don't play golf, but by the time you get to the 18th hole, you could have gone through every runner on your phone anyway. But look,
definitely could have. Especially if you're following mine and Keels' balls.
Yeah,
could have gone twice.
Yeah, how you doing? We're seeing out the jump season, then Punchestown and the Guineas again. It is that time of year where you're switching your brain left, right, and centre.
Absolute under the cosh from now on, Ross. It never stops up until after Royal Ascot, really. It's Punchestown next week, all the classic trials. There's, racing at Chester, then York during the week. So it's a very, very busy time.
It is indeed. Yeah, I love today at Sandown, and you get excited, don't you? You think, oh yeah, okay, these horses, and then you start to realise, oh, hang on, they're all going to go for completely different races against completely different horses, of which I'm then going to have to watch those videos back. And then you're watching Heavy Ground Newmarket Novices from October, trying to remind yourself of what the hell's going on. So the advantage is, though, you haven't got that tomorrow. The form is very much in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's on the jumpsters. There's a couple of flat races that Keels and I would have had to have a bit of a gander at. But yeah, generally it's just the jumps tomorrow. But listen, Sandown today. I mean, last time they ran the meeting at Sandown. There were 5 Group 1 winners on the field in the car. Living the Dream and Westover and Arabian, alcohol free, and so these meetings. I mean, people moan about these sort of early season flat meetings, but I loved it.
Why do they moan about it? What? Because they say you can't bet on them because the horses are going to have absences.
Yeah, they say that, and they say it's not really because the jumps are so much taken over that they're not really. The flat season doesn't start until after the Guineas and all that sort of stuff. But I think we've seen loads of good horses out already.
Okay, David Stevens is joining us. Hello, Mr. Stevens. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, I've been good. I should just say on behalf of the sponsors, Keels is not endorsing any particular candidate in the US presidential election. Just Joe Biden fans out there, don't get in touch. We're just a golf course.
I mean, I did think that. I mean, someone's bought you the shirt. That's one thing, but
I did worry about wearing it. I mean, the shame is that Turnberry's such a great golf course, but it will never be on the open roster while Trump is in charge, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because he'll make a real circus of the thing, but it's a fantastic track.
Yeah, okay. But David Stevens, let's not get too much into politics.
No.
And what have you got for us ahead of the UK Jumps finale?
Yeah, brilliant day. I thought it was a really good day on the flat at Sandown today, but obviously it's the finale tomorrow. Congratulations to Harry Cobden, by the way. He's sewn up the jockey's title tonight, obviously, so he can go there tomorrow and relax now. Couple of price boosts for tonight's card. El Fabiolo is even money from 8 to 11, and Langadan is 3 to 1 from 5 to 2. They're both for the duration of this live show, up to a tenner. And you mentioned at the start of the show, Ross, is this title race of playing a part in these good fields? I think it absolutely is. We saw it at Ayr last weekend. We're definitely seeing it tomorrow. It just goes to show, we talk about small fields and horses not being run enough. Well, they're all there to run if it suits. So look, I think. Congratulations, perhaps prematurely, to Willie Mullins. Does look as if he's going to be crowned champion. What an achievement that would be. The fact it's not been done for 70 years tells you what an achievement it is. But I have no doubt that Paul Nicholls, Dan Skelton, and Nicky Henderson will all come gunning back for Willie next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Have we? Have you priced up the suddenly there's significantly more interest in the Trainers' Championship now. Now it's got a little spicier.
Yeah, I mean, Willie is suggesting he's up for the defending the title should he, of course, win it tomorrow, and we make him favourite to do so next season. It's very close. 2 to 1 Willie Mullins, 9 to 4 Paul Nicholls, 5 to 2 Dan Skelton, 9 to 2 Nicky Henderson. So there's a bit of difference of opinion between the bookmakers on this, which is always good fun as well. But yeah, look, that's all for next year. But what an achievement it will be if he does something that was last done before any of us were born.
Yeah, I'm going to put this to you, Keels. If Willie Mullins starts trying to win the UK Trainers' Championship before March next year...
Well, he's Ted on, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. If he starts sending him over in October...
Yeah, it's simple as that. If he says, I'm going for it, he's monster odds on it, because he's got such a massive, massive team. Instead of running them all against each other, split them up, it's very doable.
Not only that, but if he's going to do that, he might think... Well, these 1 to 3 novice hurdlers, I'll just send them to Ludlow and Chepstow instead or something and win.
Yeah, exactly.
And
win all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tom, is it just going to get embarrassing now for everyone as Willie Mullins just decides to dominate everything he possibly can?
Well, if he found the sort of logistics of bringing the horses to Ludlow and Fosslas and Perth sort of viable throughout for the whole of next season, then yes, I could imagine him running loads more horses. Because they'll absolutely bolt up. I mean, the people talk about prize money over here, but there was like 4 or 5 grand for those novice hurdles he was winning. That's exactly the same as what you get in Ireland. Maybe a bit more, but hardly anything more. And you're running against basically horses that aren't fit to lace, Stoke the Fire and whatever the other ones were called boots. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's plenty more of those novices come around. Rather than running 4 in 1 race at Naas in bottomless ground, why not go to Ludlow or somewhere?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might be if you get in a Ryanair flight from Dublin, you might be sitting next to a 4-year-old novice hurdler instead from next year onwards.
I wouldn't think he'd go Ryanair, would he?
Would he? Is he? Well, no. Why is it? Well,
he's back now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's back. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he could just put on an entire fleet of planes especially for him. Anyway, Sandown tomorrow. We'll get stuck into that in just a second.
Fancy a bet, but find it confusing? Do not fear. SmartView is here to help you. We've taken the traditional race card and removed all the jargon and abbreviations which can be daunting for newcomers. The result is a race card that means making informed choices and picking winners is easier than ever. Our racing experts and data scientists have created an algorithm that puts everything a seasoned punter would consider into the attribute bars you see on the race card and assesses each runner with an overall score out of 100.
There you go. Get involved on the Smart View on the Racing Post app ahead of Sandown tomorrow. Might save you a bit of time going through the all the runners, because there are some big fields, in particularly in the novice handicap hurdle. It opens the card tomorrow. Be Aware is 13-2. Secret Squirrel 7's Fiercely Proud 15-2. Steel Alley or Steel Ally is 9-1. Caught in the Act 9-1. 11-1 Panjari. Masai Mara at 11s as well. And 12-1 barred those. With 20 runners and 51 grand on the table. No surprise to see Skelton and Nichols throw in a few at this race. But it is it's a tough one. I mean, I absolutely love a big field handicap hurdle, especially at a track like Sandown and on good ground as well. And there's loads of candidates here. Be Aware's clearly a progressive horse who should improve for a handicap mark, but you could say that for quite a few of these Keels. And then you've also got the ones who've run really well in handicaps like Steel Ally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steel Ally looks quite a tough horse as well, doesn't he? But I have backed Be Aware and I've backed Panjari, so one each from Nichols and Skelton.
Okay. Tell us why.
Be Aware quite interesting. I think the trainer's assistant said he was one of their nicer novice hurdlers when he was off the mark. First time up, he's only had the 3 runs. The second next time he was giving chunks of weight to a 4-year-old rated 115. He only just got beat. Then he was beaten a length by Cam Zenas, who's a Grade 2 winner, rated 130. He was only beaten a length. They were 17, 18 lengths clear of the third. He was rated 119. So I think 1-2-4 is a fair opening mark, and there's always every chance that he's got a bit more in the locker going into handicaps for the first time. So I thought he was a pretty serious horse for this sort of race. And Panjari, he could have done with not going up £9 for winning last time.
Yeah.
But it was it's a fair old work. But he did win on the bridle, and he did beat a horse who was 4th in the EBF final at Sandown. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty decent form. And it much depends on the weather, because he hasn't run on good ground over hurdles yet. This morning when I got up, there was 10 mil forecast, but it seems to have dried up again.
Yeah.
And there only seems to be 2 or 3 now. He won 3 times on the flat in Germany, I think, including a listed race. He also won a listed race on good to soft on the flat, which would be near a good over jumps, wouldn't it? And he beat a horse there that's been placed several times in Group 2 and 3 company. So if he's a better horse for good ground, I think he's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, isn't it? I mean, Panjari's Dam was listed class all on good ground as well.
Yeah.
I actually thought last time at Foss Lass, I thought, is he really going to enjoy a slog through that ground at Foss Lass?
Exactly. And he just cruised, didn't he?
Yeah, he loved it. He absolutely loved it.
Right, whether he wants, a 20-runner race, not so sure, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Okay. He is there. He is 11-1. Is Panjari. Be Aware 13-2. I quite like the ones with form, or in particular Steel Ally. I mean, Keel said he was a tough horse, Tom, and I mean, that Newbury run last time out, he was a mile clear of the rest. I mean, 9 lengths clear of Imperial Saint, who's bolted up. But, I mean, finest view, he could be the one. The form is really, really good, and he got beat by a proper stayer that day.
Yeah, and the winner's won again since, isn't he? So the form's very good. Nothing wrong with him. I just thought he's maybe sort of got the run of the race a little bit at Newbury. I'm with Keels on Be Aware. I'm very boring here. I thought I was being really clever during the week and back Be Aware and Secret Squirrel, the James Bond of the rodent world. And there they are, top of the market. You remember Secret Squirrel, Keels, when you in your youth?
I do, just about, mate, yeah. I'm old, though, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast, really.
No. He can't remember where he got that shirt, so, who knows what's happening. But
I was a massive Secret Squirrel fan in my youth. It was my favourite cartoon when I was growing up, and I think he's got a very good chance here. I really liked him at Taunton last time. I liked him behind Jericho de Repenay at the start of the season. I think he's going to be a lot better than he's bred to be a lot better than 124, 126, or whatever he is. I think he's going to go really well. I love the way he sort of grinds it out. I think he's perfect for Sandown. He'd be my number 1 choice, the Squirrel.
Okay, yeah, I had him in the back of my mind for a possible that race on Swinton Hurdle Day at Haydock, but he might win this and then go for that as well. So one more to throw at you, Tom, is Cannock Park. who I thought was quite interesting as well. That run behind Django Bay brings him right into it off this mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very good form. Don't think he'll mind the ground. He's just one of those that you sort of know where you are, and you sort of think that, one of the Nicholses or the Squirrel or Be Aware might just have that little bit of improvement. I would throw in Masai Mara down the bottom as one that could go well. He was a proper horse for John Gosden on the flat. He was rated 90, won at Ascot. Wasn't beaten far in some good races. Jumps really well. That's he looks like going to John O'Shea must have had something wrong with him, but they paid 170,000 for him, so there's nothing wrong with him. I would imagine that the better ground will help. And what I would say is it wasn't very fast at all today at Sandown. The times were pretty slow considering the standard of horses that were running. So I don't think it's not like rattlingly good. I think there's plenty of give in it, and if there's lots of rain, it could go good to soft pretty quickly. But I do think Masai Mara won't mind that either. Yeah,
I was just going to say, it's worth mentioning as well, John O'Shea had 2 runners on the flat at Doncaster today, and they won by 2.5 and 7.5 lengths. So,
the horses are going well, and he was a good horse on the flat, and he jumped really well.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him actually go back to the flat, actually, for the summer. Okay, wide open stuff, David, as you would expect for the money on offer.
Yeah, wide open start for the day. 5 places each way. But Thomas stolen my thunder slightly there with Masai Mara. I had noticed, actually, it had shortened up in the last half hour or so. So I'm guessing Mr. Segal might be the reason why. It's rated in the high 80s when he was with the Gosdens, as Tom alluded to. He's still very unexposed over hurdles, so he'd do each way. And I'm also a fan of the Squirrel, both the cartoon and the horse.
Okay. Lovely stuff. Right. Just one surf each way at a price. There's Ben K88, Masai Mara for Tom Leach, Fire Flyer for Jorge Lozano Lima. Good evening to you. Or should I say, buenos noches. And Music Mike says, I like Steel Alley, but one of a few front runners at Sandown for that 150. Right, let's move on then. The 225 at Sandown tomorrow is the Oaksey Chase at 2 miles, 6 furlongs, 164 yards, which again in a race of this nature, especially at Sandown, can make all the difference. Excuse me. The real whacker is 5-2 with Hitman. 4-1 Easy Game, Garlaw 13-2, Al Dancer is 15-2, Fantastic Lady at 16-1, Strawfan Jack 20-1 outsider of the bunch, and it's another one of those strange races, Tom, isn't it? That just below Grade 1 level, not quite 3 miles, not quite 2.5, good ground, and quite a few of these will relish that, but you've been running on soft all winter. This grade's kind of a very much a love or hate grade. Which one are you in?
What grade? The distance or this type of horse?
Just this type of horse. You're not quite Gold Cup, probably Ryanair, that kind of horse.
Yeah, they don't win enough, do they? That's the problem. But they've all got a great chance here. I think it's wide open. I thought it's on here. I thought a real whacker, obviously. I thought Garlaw was. Don't know why they changed tactics last time. I thought he was miles better when he made the running. Al Dancer likes to go on. So I thought the race could be set up for Hitman. I know Keels is a big Hitman fan. We talk about Hitman a lot. He doesn't win very often, but he's got bits and pieces of classy form that would give him an excellent chance in this race. It's not a race I've got involved in, and I won't. But I'm looking forward to it because, I'm a big fan of loads of them. I'm a big fan of Garlaw, big fan of the real whacker. But deep down, I think it just might be Hitman's Day. But I wouldn't.
Hitman's Day. Wow. We've been waiting a while, Keels.
Yeah, listen, I'd backed him anti-post each way. He's one of those horses, I couldn't back him at 5-2. I really couldn't. I do like him, and I do hope he wins. He probably has got, this probably is his perfect trip and ground, isn't it? He was running all over Protectorat and Shishkin 2 starts ago, wasn't it? At Newbury, 2 miles, 7.5 furlong, but heavy ground. Ground wasn't as soft as they gave it that day, admittedly, but, and he just ran out of petrol between the last 2, didn't he? And
obviously that form, it's not bad, is it?
You can't really knock that form, can you? A couple of fantastic horses either side of him. And he is that good, but he doesn't put his head in front very much. So I was all very keen on each way in a race that might cut up. I couldn't trust the real whacker. I couldn't. I know he's very talented, but on what he's done this year, you're not backing him at 5-2, are you? I come down to the conclusion that I think Al Dancer will run a big race. A little bit worried because obviously Dylan Johnson's a claimer and he can't claim. but Sam Thomas has obviously put his faith in him, and he's just run really well all season, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's got a bit to find, and he's an 11-year-old. But it's one of those races where a few could run below form. So I want Hitman to win. If I was going to have a bet now, it'd probably be El Dancer.
Okay. He's a funny one, but yeah, obviously Dylan Johnson gets on very well with him. I kind of come down in the hate category for these races, which may be a bit strong, but just in terms of what, you know, if Hitman springs up one day and beats you up selection, you're banging your head against the wall, aren't you? But Garlaw on good ground, I mean, soft or heavy, 6.356p is his form. Good or faster, first, second, first, fell at the last when about to win first. He's a proper good ground horse. He's not Grade 1 class by any stretch of the imagination, but this is absolutely perfect for him, Keels. I thought, you know...
again, he's another horse I am quite a fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got his level, he's got his conditions, and that's what he's got tomorrow.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he's not quite as talented as Hitman, but he's probably keener to win than that one.
Yeah.
You know, so I can see the argument for that, for sure.
Well, I mean, the ones I just mentioned for Garlaw might well be more than Hitman's ever achieved in his 22 race career.
Absolutely.
So, okay, David Stevens, what did you come down on this quirky bunch?
Well, I put the Bock on Tom in the first race. I'll put the Bock on Keels in this race. I thought El Dancer at the price was the value. Been off since second in the Coral Trophy at Kempton in February. I assume that was the plan, to wait for this, keep him fresh. Claimer obviously can't claim the 5, but obviously Sam Thomas is happy to keep him on. I mean, the 2 at the top of the market, obviously wouldn't be surprised if they fought it out and they finished first and second, but there's enough question marks about both of them at the prices. Although worth pointing out, and it's been slightly overshadowed for obvious reasons this year, I mean, Paul Nicholls has a tremendous record on this day. Historically, goes with a handful of chances tomorrow. Obviously, Harry Cobden has the pick of them. Harry, the newly crowned champion jockey, is the subject of our next price boost. A double or more for Harry to crown that championship was 130, is now 4-1. Obviously, Hitman, one of his rides tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. As for the chatters, what have we got? Just a good one there. Anyway, Smug Punter says you could run this race 6 times and get 6 different results. And I'm going to remember that. And when Jumps fans come on during the summer and say that about sprint handicaps, I'm just going to read that out and remind
He's probably not wrong, though, is he?
No, he's not wrong at all.
I mean, as Dave said, you could see Hitman and the Real Whacker fighting it out, or you could see neither of them finishing in the first 3, couldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, Straw Fan Jack ran an absolute blinder at Cheltenham, and he's not got that much to
No,
fight
he's got some massive runs in him, hasn't he?
But it is funny old stuff. Again, which is strange given how consistently Minori used to turn up and win this every single year, and since then it's horses who could barely. These horses probably won less races than Minori has won renewals of this race.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, right, okay, that's the 225 from Sandown. Then the Real Whacker and Hitman 5-2 joint favourites there. Celebration Chase time at Sandown tomorrow. What an absolutely corking renewal we've got here. El Fabiolo 8-11, John Bon 2-1, Edwardstone 9-1, Editor de Gite 22-1, Elixir de Nuts is 33-1, 40-1 Nube Negra, and Boot Hill. And we finally, in theory, we haven't jumped off yet, that's not wood, Touch Plastic, we get these two going head to head, because we haven't had a matchup of 2 172-mile chasers in this race since Underso came up against Sprinter Sakura a few years ago, and hopefully we'll get a similarly entertaining renewal this year. El Fabiolo at 8-11, John Bon at 2-1. Come to you first, Mr. Paul Kealy, for this.
It's these two, isn't it? Well, no, it's difficult, isn't it? These two. I mean, throughout the run up to Cheltenham, we're doing these shows, and I spend a lot of time I don't know why, sometimes trawling through Twitter or X or whatever you call it now, and the amount of grief you get from fans of John Bon for saying he can't jump, and from fans of El Fabiolo for saying he can't jump.
Yeah.
But both of them have lost races this year because they can't jump. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then you've got Edwardstone who fell last time out.
And Edwardstone fell last time out. I mean, at the end of the day, they both can jump. They're both really, really good jumpers, but they got mistakes in them, haven't they?
Yeah.
And that's it. And, it wasn't a great experience for El Fabiolo when he came over last time. Yes, he'll probably jump better out the ground, but John Bon is 3 from 3 here. And if I was going to back one of them, I'd back him. I mean, I'm not saying I will have a bet in the race. I probably won't. I can't, unless something goes wrong, I don't think anything else is going to win. One of those two will win.
Yeah.
But we've seen that it can go wrong. So I'm not going to get involved at short odds. But John Wood is 3 from 3 at the track. So on this particular day, at this track, I favour him just.
Okay. Partly, there's a voice in the back of my head, Keels, that's saying the bet here is to back El Fabiolo for next year's Champion Chase. Because if he wins this, and then John Bond goes the Ryanair route...
Yeah, absolutely. What is the Gaelic Warrior?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It depends on what they do with him, doesn't it? I mean, he could go anywhere.
Well, but because the Champion Chase, because of the nature of these horses as well, obviously it is... it's almost the older, the more experienced you get, the more you get used to the rough and tumble of the race. So actually, El Fabiolo bombing out this year next year it'll be a year stronger, won't he? So
yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't think he lacks for strength, though, does he? Because he's an absolute tank of a horse.
No, fair. El Fabiolo then 8-11. John Bond is 2-1. Again, it's a. We've talked about this matchup in theory a lot, Tom. The release keeps getting delayed, but we're going to have the blockbuster tomorrow.
Yeah, best 2 mile race of the jump chase race of the season, isn't it? It's the race we've been waiting for. It's miles better than the Champion Chase. And I'm really looking forward to it. As Keel says, they both have a mistake in them, as we've seen. John Bond at Cheltenham, El Fabiolo at Cheltenham. So Sandown's not an easy jumping track, but if you get in the rhythm, they're not massive fences at Sandown. I think they'll both be fine. I think El Fabiolo is a much better horse than John Bond over 2 miles. Personally, I think he'd carry him, if he was at his best. But you can't. After what happened at Cheltenham, I'm not sure I want to back him at 8-11. And John Bond had a very hard race, I thought. Trying to find the other one, anything else in there, I really couldn't. Obviously, Edwardstone is a very good horse round Sandown. Wouldn't be surprised if they changed back to not making the running with him. I thought they went too hard with him in the Champion Chase. I don't think he's totally out of it, Edwardstone, but I think El Fabiolo will win tomorrow. I really do. I think I've said it all along, I think he's the best, most talented horse, probably along with Galopin de Chance in training. I think he's just a brilliant horse. If he puts it all in, I think he'll win easily. Yeah,
he is 8-11, of course, but yeah, there is a counter argument as well, Tom, isn't it, that he didn't have a race at Cheltenham, so he'll be fresh as a daisy tomorrow.
Well, it could be. There's also the chance that he hurt himself and won't be the same horse. But I'm hoping not. I really love him. I love El Fabiolo. I prefer him to John Bond as a horse personally. So I want El Fabiolo to win. But I wouldn't be surprised if Edwardstone is right there with them. He's talented enough to be right there with them, for sure.
Okay. I might, again, you try to look at angles here. El Fabiolo and John Bond, first and second. Boot Hill for the trifecta. Second in this last year. Just a proper good ground 2 mile chaser, right-handed. He's got no chance of beating them. He'll get beaten 20 lengths, but hopefully stumble home third for TriCast purposes. We're looking for betting angles, David Stevens, but outside of the betting angles, this should be, hopefully, a right old ding-dong.
Yeah, it's the one we've wanted to see, isn't it? And 2 miles round Sandown is some spectacle where they jump the railway fences. And I reckon JP must have been on to Tom because he didn't use the L word about John Bond. Have you had a tap on the shoulder, Tom? You've been told not to call John Bond a lummox anymore.
Well, they're both lummoxes in my book.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is getting out. They can't all be lummoxes, Tom. This is you've got your rose tinted lummox glasses on.
I tell you what, El Fabiolo nearly almost fell. John Bond almost fell. Edwardstone did fall. Boot Hill never does anything but fall. The only lummox there is Elixir de Nuts, isn't it?
Well, there we go. Maybe he's the answer. But I do just. I mean, El Fabiolo is an interesting one. Had he have obliged in the Champion Chase at 2-9, so he should have done. This whole title race would have been over by now because he'd have won another $250,000 and Willie would have been out of sight. But he's got to come here to try and earn 95 grand. Sandown takes some jumping, I say, particularly the railway fences down the back there, and he is capable of a howler. John Bond, again, I agree with Tom. I thought he had a hard race at Aintree. Not like Nicky to run them that quickly, but you're looking for something else to beat them. Maybe Elixir de Nuts is the answer. He's beaten John Bond once this season. I hope it's a brilliant spectacle because the 2 milers round Sandown is as a betting medium, I think it's really tricky. But El Fabiolo, of course, short one for Willie. Willie had 4 runners up at Ayr last Saturday. He is 2-1 from 7-4 to have 3 or more winners tomorrow. He is 10-1 from 8-1 to have another 4-timer tomorrow and seal that championship in style.
Thank you, David.
Don't go there, Ross. Don't go there. Don't ask him the price for no winners again.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, what I meant to say was no winners at Perth. I got me Scottish cities
That's
wrong.
wrong as well. He had one today.
It was 1-4. It doesn't count. Doesn't count. Fair enough. 1-5. Sorry. All right. Fine. I'm getting everything wrong. Right. Sod the lot
No,
here.
you're not. I just thought you were going to ask the question. I just didn't want you to go there again.
No. What actually the question I was going to ask was what price is El Fabiolo for next year's Champion Chase, David Stevenson?
He is 11-4 favourite, with Gaelic Warrior 9-2 second favourite.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, rattling on then from the Celebration Chase to the Bet365 Gold Cup. We have 20 runners here over 3 miles, 4.5 furlongs, and again we've had some right old finishes over the years in this. Do you pay first past the post still, David?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just checking. Lightning might strike twice. Kitty's Light is 9-2. Am I right? 13-2. 3 under through 5. 7-1. Manila Kakuna 7-1. Limilos 8-1. Nick Rocket 8-1. We've all been caught 14s. Kuwando Kwetu is 14-1 as well. Others in with a chance. Annual Invictus for Chris Gordon. Loves a good ground chaser. Rapper, if he can stand up, has a little bit of a squeak as well. And Rillo, of course. And does he know as well? I thought for Kim Bailey was a little bit interested at a very big price indeed. But it's almost the guineas, Tom. More staying handicap chases for you to get your teeth stuck into. You must have been rubbing your hands together with glee.
Well, funnily enough, I've got a good record in this with the old Whitbread. Now the Bet365 Gold Cup, of course. But I thought this was really hard. I really did. I didn't know where to start, really. Obviously, Kitty's Light is the obvious place to start. I think he's the one everyone wants to win, given his circumstance. And while he did run in the Grand National last time, it wasn't they didn't go very fast, did they? Only probably had to race for about half a mile. So I wouldn't put it past him coming back and winning again. He obviously loves Sandown. Lots in his favour. Am I Right looks just too short to me now. Everyone tells me what a great horse he is. Now he's going to take off on good ground. He's 6-1. He won one chase and gets beaten a long way. Maybe he will take off. Can't see it myself. 300 through 5 I didn't really fancy. What do you do about the Mullins horses? The difference between this race and the one at Ayr last week is that the Mullins horses that were 1st, 4th, 5th and 6th were all sort of coming there fresh, not having taken in the big meetings. These two have been to the Irish National, which is running bottomless ground, and Nick Rocket didn't really jump that well. I mean, Ella Kakula did jump well, but he didn't jump well the time before. I don't know about them. It's a hard thing to say about Willie Mullins' horses, but wasn't entirely convinced by them. Lamilos I didn't really fancy. I just don't think he's been in any form. You never know. With Dan Skelton, he might have been keeping, playing a canny game for this race, but he didn't show much to me in over hurdles last time. Same with We've All Been Caught, really. I thought he had a better chance in the Ultima than he ran. I know he sneaked into 5th or 6th, but he was never really travelling. So I thought it was wide open. There was loads you could make a case for at Big Pie. I ended up on Annual Invictus just simply because front-running chasers in this race have a very good record when the ground's good. The form of the Great Yorkshire Chase is pretty good. Forward Plans won. They had loads of good horses in behind him. 2 shots at Kealy. Loads of good horses have come out and run well off that race. He's about 3 or 4 pounds higher only here, and you can forget his last run in the Gimure because he was knocked over. He was knocked over 5 out, and he still finished quite well. He still finished. If you look where he was turning for home and where he finished, he actually ran home quite strongly. So I don't think the trip's going to be a problem. In fact, I think he'll love the trip. And so if he got out in front, and that seems to be the key to him because he needs to front run to be at his best, and I think that will be the plan with him here, then I could see him going well for a really long way. He might have done his winning he might have had his win for the season. That's usually what happens in this race. Something that hasn't risen up the handicap, comes out from nowhere and wins it. But I do like Annual Invictus as a horse. He's got a lot of class. I think he's got 3 course records. I think he's got course records at Newbury, somewhere else, and Kempton and somewhere. I think he's a really, really high class horse. So
might well be. He absolutely dotted up in a right old time at Plumpton one day, so it might well be Plumpton as well.
Yeah, and he's got class. He's got black class. So with Freddie Gordon taking 5 off, he'll do for me. But he's not a step back, and he's definitely not a Hewick. And he's of those that this is a tricky one for me. I think you could give loads chances.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I mean, he has won 3 of his last 4 races on good ground as well, so he's a proper good ground horse, isn't he? I mean, there are a few more of those in this race. One which stood out to me a bit was Kinondo Kwetu, who travelled like a dream at Aintree last time. He's a proper good ground horse.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is. I didn't bother putting him up again. I tipped him in the weekend. I didn't bother putting him up again tomorrow because I was worried when writing it, worried about how much rain. But the drier it is, the better.
Yeah.
Like Tom said, the times.
Oh, you tipped him in the weekend?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Like Tom said, the times were slow today, but it's a different track. And if you remember, it was only good to softish last year when it was unraceable on the turf course, so on the flat course. So we do have to wait and see. But yeah, he's a bang good ground horse. I mean, he was 4th in that Aintree race on ground too soft for him. He was 3rd in that Aintree race last year. He then won at Aintree, and he then finished 3rd in the Summer Cup. And
I mean, that run was...
Well, I mean, how he got so close, having belted the amount of fences he did, particularly the 3rd last, where he absolutely thumped it and lost all sorts, and still came back on the bridle and come through. He's got a big run in him, isn't he? If he can get, if he can get his legs out of the way, and that can be the issue with him. But
I thought he was. I mean, he jumped.
He jumped fine.
Every fence.
Yeah, he jumped fine. Yeah, he can jump fine. But it's one of those horses. I mean, Tom tell you, if you hit one, you lose your rhythm.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's gone.
I mean, that's personally why I.
I bet Gitmaker at Ayr last year. I mean, how he finished 3rd with the amount of mistakes he made, I do not know. I mean, he should have won by half the track.
Personally, that's why handicap chasers drive me insane, because ability, fine. You can look at your speed figures, you can look at your informed horses, you can look at your run styles, but you make one mistake and you're out of it.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, so you are looking at horses to get into a rhythm, and if he does and the ground is good, then I think he's got a big chance. I've backed a few, though, because like Tom said, it's really, really hard. I also back Rapper. I mean, if 300 through 5, 7 to 1, I'm not sure. I think he's going to drift myself. If he's 7 to 1, then Rapper should be nowhere near 3 times the price. And he was much bigger earlier in the week because he was closing on him hand over fist at Ascot 2 runs ago at 3 Mile. He's again, I think he's another good ground horse himself. Obviously, he fell in the Kim Muir under an amateur, but I'm not so worried about that. I don't think he's ever had good ground to run at over a proper trip. You know what I mean? I know he's won on soft ground. He won a 3 1/4 mile soft ground at Cheltenham, but that was officially soft. It was way quicker than that. So as long as the ground isn't too bad for him, I think he's got a big run in him.
Okay.
And the one I actually, those are my 2 anti-post ones, and I actually came down on the Willie Mullins 3rd string, M. Deji for Sean O'Keefe. He has this remarkable record of getting in the frame at big prices for Willie Mullins.
Okay.
He had a 66 to 1 4th in the bumper. He was on Clark Kent, who was 50 to 1. He was on Jimmy DeSoy, he was second.
I guess it must help. There's no pressure on the horses he rides.
No,
so
exactly.
He can just run on
exactly.
Into the
like, and I didn't think M. Deji particularly handled Aintree last time. He's one of those horses that backed off quite a few of the fences, was what you don't want to do because you lose a bit of ground. And I thought he ran a crack at a finish 5th. He'd won the time before. He's got no form at anything beyond 2 mile 5, but the dam is related to a 4 mile winner. It just could be quite interesting. Go in the slower pace, get that jump in. And if he does stay, I don't think he's that badly handicapped.
All right. What price?
He's a 28 chance, I think.
28 to 1. We must. I mean, you mentioned 300 through 5 there. We've got to mention him, Tom. Again, I mean, he'll be in people's lummox category from the get-go. But since Harry Cobden's got on board, he's actually become an ultra consistent staying handicap chaser. And I know he idles in front, and he's clearly got his quirks. But if you're having a place pot, you're having each way bets or whatever, I'm struggling to see him out of the mix.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen. I can see it. Listen, he's going to run a massive race to 2 out. And if he's there 2 out, then he obviously has got a massive chance of finishing in the 4. But I'm not sure he's going to stick on well enough up the hill to win it. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he's won for the play spot rather than the win purposes. There's plenty in there. What was the other one I was looking at? I can't remember now. It's not on that list there.
I can throw them at you. I'll just say names until you say it. Certainly Red. Emrilos.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he ran okay last year, didn't he? He's got the pieces on this time. Little bit surprised if he could win it, but he could go well. Slipway and Sam Brown. Those are the two. I thought Sam Brown has this sort of narrative that goes around him of being a slogger in the mud. Well, I actually think I think he loves good ground. I think he's better on good ground. If you remember back to Punchestown last year, he was he was 3 clear off this sort of mark when coming down 2 out. He was second. Where was he second recently? Staying on really strongly.
Aintree.
Aintree, of course it was. Aintree in front of Quendo, that horse that I'll never pronounce. Staying on really strongly there. Freddie Gingle gets a really good tune out of him, doesn't it? I could see him going well. And Slipway's just the type of horse that runs well in this race. Now, he might have given his way a chance of winning it by winning so easily at Kempton last time, but he won the Perth Highland National, the one that was run today, in a canter a couple of years ago. He sort of lost his way afterwards. But right-handed, good ground is exactly what he needs, and he's a brilliant jumper. He's a really, really slick jumper who I could see Sandown really suiting him. So those are the other two at big prices. I thought, but listen, Emrillo has won it once, hasn't he? And he's much lower in the mark. Aim Deji, I agree with Keels. He's got untapped potential. You can literally make a case for them all.
Mm. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what you were saying about the Grand National, about horses with no chance getting in. That's not the case in this race, is it? So that's what you want for a race of this nature. Emily Lowry says, stick with Does He Know, Ross? Okay, Emily, I'll take your word for it. ZB Rogan says he doesn't think Lemilos stays the trip. Rory's done Slipway each way, and we've also got We've All Been Caught each way for Dunners. David Stevens.
We have 5 places each way on what is clearly a mightily competitive race. Kitty's Light would be a great winner. I'm not sure I'd be too worried about the race in the Nationals. Had a 2-week break. He only had coming on from air, of course, so I could see him running well without. I like Slipway as well, Tom. You'll be disappointed to hear. Just going up £6 for that Kempton win, just at the top end of what they'd have wanted to see from him. But Ben Pauling's had a brilliant season. So this horse returned to form there. The trip will not be a problem for him. He's won over these marathon distances before. He's around 25 to 1. But obviously Willie Mullins has a strong hand. He is 130 from 11-4 to win this race. Or will it be kept at home? Paul and Dan taking him on a course. A Dan Skelton or a Paul Nichols winner is 3 to 1 from 5 to 2. So big old pot up for grabs here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stevens. And may I say that I hope I get to the end of the show without you putting the mockers on one of my selections so far. I've managed to escape 4 races in. Let's see how we go in the select hurdle, shall we? Where Impere Pass will be a fairly short price favourite here. Even money 5 to 2 Langadan, Ballyadam 13 to 2, Sir Gerhard 8 to 1, and then a jump out to Blue King Doro 20s, Brewing Up a Storm 25s, Botox has 33s with Call My Lord at his favourite stomping ground of Sandown, also at 33 to 1. But similar to the Oaksey chase earlier on, you've got your not quite staying hurdlers and you're not quite champion hurdlers all going head to head in a right old bunch, but you do have a genuine Grade 1 horse at the top of the betting here, who wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the whole Trainers' Championship malarkey as well. But I tell you what, Paul Kealy, if this horse can hang all across the track at Aintree, he's got some ground to hang at Sandown, hasn't he?
And is he going to turn up?
Oh, is there a doubt?
In my head, there is.
In your head, there is?
Yeah.
Right, where have you conjured this from?
If the Trainers' Championship is over...
Right, okay.
Yeah.
When the Trainers' Championship was over in 2016, Mullins immediately withdrew everything else.
Right.
That he could aim at Punchestown, and he's in a Punchestown in what could end up a 3-runner race in the Punchestown Champion Hurdle. So I'm thinking if it's over by now, he probably doesn't run. I was going to have a good each way bet on Ballyadam because he's £10 better off for just under 4 lengths with Langadan. He cruised through that race, came from miles away, didn't he, to finish second in the Coral Cup. He gets, and he's better off at the weights. But then I thought to myself, hang on, I could end up with a massive Rule 4 and 2 places.
Yeah, but you've expressed this point quite succinctly in the past, that the Rule 4 is very much in your favour as a punter.
Yeah, it is, but I didn't want
the
each way is the issue, isn't it? That's the thing, because I mean, even Sir Gerhard could come out. You don't know. I mean, it could be completely wrong, and Mullins wins it, and Imperial Pass runs anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's no gimme to beat Langadan, is he? And Langadan is no gimme to beat Ballyadam at these weights. So, I thought there was a bit of, because like you said, he did wander all over the place in Imperial Pass. Langadan was coming back at him against the line, may have been a little bit unlucky. So I think he's a bit short myself. If 8 go to post, I will back Ballyadam each way.
Okay, Ballyadam is 13-2 here. Tom Segal, I would say this is essentially a non-staying hurdle, as it were. Possibly the best staying hurdle we saw at Aintree was Strong Leader. A horse who put Strong Leader to the sword quite comfortably was Blue King Doru. Is he 20-1 just because he's giving weight to better horses? Is that the only reason?
Well, he's officially rated some £10 behind a good few of these. So I'm with you. I think he's going to run really well. I think he's the one that's going to have been targeted at the race specifically. These are sort of afterthoughts for Imperial Pass, Langadan. Ballyadam, I get kills this point, doesn't win very often. Sir Gerhard ran terribly in the staying hurdle, but he's got a lot of back class him. He's dangerous for me, along with Blue King Daru. But I mean, I'd be disappointed if Imperial Pass didn't run. I mean, Isaac Swade and your man are going to be there, aren't they, for El Fabiolo? It'd be disappointing for them if then suddenly they don't run their other next best horse in a couple of hours down the line. So I would imagine.
But the Punchestown race is worth 177 grand.
Yeah, but they would probably come third to one of his stable mates, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure those boys are too worried about the money, truth be told.
Yeah, fair.
So I'd like to see him run because I think he makes the race much more interesting. I think I'll take him on over this trip, though. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong, but they were saying he should have been held up and he was stopping in front and all this kind of stuff. I thought he was lucky. I thought he should have been third. I thought he hampered both of them, and I don't know. I think Evans is. It's not for me. Langadan, he's just seemed, has he had his races now? Maybe not. He likes Sandown. He's run well here in the past, so but as he Cheltenham then Aintree hard races, is he going to come back and produce that? He could do. He's he didn't do anything for the start of the season, did he? So I wouldn't be adverse to throwing a few quid at your suggestion there, Ross. Blue King Daru at 20-1. He does look a big price. He clearly didn't stay the 3 miles at Ascot, but he was in front 2 out, and he had this would have been his plan. I noticed when they interviewed Paul Nichols earlier in the week, the first horse he came up with was Blue King Daru, has been one he was looking forward to running this week. So yeah, maybe Blue King Daru each way at a price, provided Imperial Pass turns up.
Yeah, I think he's priced up on ratings and weights and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he beat strongly. He was a 4-year-old against really proper tough staying horses, and that price isn't factoring in that there could possibly be another half a stone improvement in him, while the others are basically rated on past glories, the majority of them anyway. So yeah, it could go. Assuming that the favourite runs, it's still a wide open contest. If the favourite does run, it's an even money favourite with an 8-runner shape, David Stevens, so the each way thieves will be out. If Imperial Pass comes out, it's anyone's game.
Yeah, I think there has to be a very real chance that Imperial Pass will come out for all the reasons Keel's outlined. Out of sheer spite, I'm going to tick Blue King Daru, Ross, but because you're making me talk about a race and horses that remind me of Bob Ollinger, which you know how painful that was eventually. No, it's not out of spite. Actually, Blue King Daru is my selection, or was my selection anyway. He was a 4-year-old winner of the Coral Hurdle. You don't get many of those. This will have been his target. He's fresh. This trip is ideal for him. And just to reiterate what I said earlier, Paul Nichols' record on this day is fantastic. So Blue King Daru, with or without the favourite, will be the one for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, that rosé has been drunk post Bob Ollinger, so yeah, we know how painful it was. As for those on the chat, what have we got? Anything? Impere Pass should win, but I've got a feeling he won't. Says the bookmaker. Which is that is the feeling you get a lot of the time when you look at some races. You just go, that should win, but I don't think it will.
But no.
It's hard. Sometimes there's just something in your gut keels that you think, I don't think it's going to happen. And apart from that, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only opinion on this race on the chat, is that Imperial Pass should win, but he won't. The Novice Handicap Chase, a penultimate race on Sandown's card tomorrow, is 11-4 favourite Nickelback here. Again, we've got a Grade 1 horse in a handicap. This could be interesting. It's 7-2 Outlaw Peter, Teresita 13-2, Martyr Tour 7-1, Golden Sun 10-1 with Mayhem Maya and Persian Time, and then Cop Mask at 14-1. Obviously, he is the class horse of the race, Nickelback. He's also a few sandwiches short of a picnic, but that's what makes him so wonderful. But we talked a lot about hashtag disgraces, Tom, with stand-in starts and all sorts of jazz over the jump season. But that Aintree race won by Founder 50 was an absolute farce and should never have counted. You can't, if a horse does that to half the field, the form is absolutely worthless from that stand-in start. So if Nickelback hadn't have come straight from that Grade 1 win before, would he be shorter in this market?
I'm not sure he'd be shorter, but I mean, he's not like he's a massive price now, is he? I mean, the figures for his win in the Grade 1 here are off the charts good. I mean, it was a sensationally good performance and time. He could do the same again here. It's a bit like the old Charger situation from last week. They're not brilliant horses he's up against, and he did look brilliant when he won here last time. I'm going to agree with the chap who said earlier, I think he might win, but I don't think he's going to win, or whatever he said.
He said he should win, but I don't think he will.
Win, but I don't think he will, and that's what I think about Nickelback. I think he should win, but I don't think he will here. I just have a feeling something will get in his way, or something's going to go wrong. I thought Mayhem Maya might run well down the bottom there for Chris Honor and Brian Carver. Bit of an issue with the trip. Because she's never won over 2.5 miles. She's bred to love it. I mean, her family are all strong stayers. She's got very good track form, and I thought she was a big eye catcher in the Red Rum last time. I know Saint-Beuve didn't sort of do anything for the form at Ayr last week, but that was a very different sort of test there, and he might have, obviously he was coming back after a quick break, but Mayhem Maya came from a long way back. She stayed on nicely. I think 2.5 miles at Sandown's going to be perfect for her. She just looks to me like she's going to peak for this race, and so I was quite sweet on her. I think she'll go really well at 10-1.
Okay, Mayhem Maya then is a 10-1 shot for Chris Honor and Brian Carver. Mr. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, I like this race. A bit like Tom. I mean, I think Nickelback could win. He didn't run well anyway, though, afterwards. I mean, I know he never had a chance of winning, but he didn't run particularly well. I wonder whether he's over the top, because these horses, they go...
I'm just going to throw a counterpoint, though. Given the kind of horse he is, I'm struggling to think of...
He's a head case, yeah.
Well, I'm struggling to think of a horse that would be more impacted by getting sideswiped at the start of this horse.
Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that, and he could tear them apart. I am hoping that a few horses follow him and keep and push it, and they set it up for Teresita, because I think she's got a massive chance. And going back to talking about rhythm, that's what she got out of on her penultimate start when she ran here, but she absolutely tore up the straight. She turned in last. She finished third. I think she'd have won easily if she'd jumped. She jumped beautifully at Ludlow either time since. Obviously, that's an easier track to jump. But she's got some fair form over hurdles here as well, and I just think she's going to love this ground. And if they go hard, I can see her flying up the hill. I really fancy her. It's just a case of
in good form.
Yeah, she's in good form. I mean, she's really not in good form, to be fair. She does really well with her horses, and yeah, I just think that if he gets into gets into it with him, I think she's gonna run a really, really big race. She's halved in prices this morning, but I did think, the 12 to 1 or whatever that she was way, way, way too big. My second in was, funnily enough, Mayhem Mia as well. I thought that was quite an eye catcher, and I wouldn't worry too much about Saint-Beuve at Ayr. 7 days later.
Yeah, and also it was 2 miles and half a furlong, and at 2 miles he was still in front.
And pace pressure as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
if you know what I mean. So I wouldn't worry too much. So yeah, those were the two for me, but Teresita was very much the number one.
All right, Teresita is 13-2 then here. Again, I just looked at this race and thought, well, they're not going to get anywhere near Nickelback. So I'm kind of with the person on the chat, or in a sense that he's a back to win later place, David Stevens, I think.
I think Nickelback should win. I think he probably will win. He's the class horse. His Silly Isles Chase win was superb. Put a line through that Aintree debacle last time. I could see him being able to carry top weight here. But if there's one further down the bottom, it was Martator on the last couple of times. Small fields. This is a step up in field size and in class, but he's won both those races pretty easily. Has won on good ground, has won over 2.5 miles, so ticks a lot of boxes for Venetia Williams. But as I say, I think the favourite probably will win.
All right, fair enough. I think, yeah, it's a variation on a theme at least. Anyway, the last race at Sandown tomorrow is, I mean, the first race is hard. The last race is just as difficult. It is absolutely wide open stuff. 18 of them go to post here for this 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. Pickrock 5-1, Samajest 11-2, Look Away 7-1, Email Andy 8, Gold Down to 7-2, Bad 11-1, and 12-1, and bigger the rest. You've got form lines coming out of your ears here. We've got Coral Cup form. We've got the EBF final form, of course. We've got the top novices form with Look Away. Email Andy dotted up last time out after running well at Sandown as well. You've got Bad, who's been running in good races all year. When you start to go down and you look at horses like Arcube and Classic Anthem and Monviello, are all course horses. They're all 12, 14, 16, 18, 20-1. This is wide open, Keels. You're about to tell me you really fancy one, though.
Yeah, I'll back the Fav. Which I know is unusual for me, but I like that EBF final. It routinely works out well, doesn't it? And Email Andy was third in it and absolutely dotted up next time out, and is now worse off with the runner-up who was Pickrock. I think Pickrock's got plenty going for him off a mark of 128. I think he'll go close. Would I back him at 5-1? Yes, I would. I've backed him at sevens, but I think he's got a right chance. Yeah, I like him a fair bit. I'm a bit of an old fan of Arcube. I can certainly see him running well. He's still got, his flat ability says he should be better than 119, shouldn't he? I know he doesn't do it, but he has won a decent handicap on flat round here, hasn't he?
He's a
quickest round, I think.
Yeah,
so I think he'll run well at a price, but I do think Pickrock's the horse with the most promise in the race.
All right, okay. So I say it's wide open and Keels us back to Fav. Tom Segal, what's your opinion on the last?
Funnily enough, I like Pickrock and Email Andy and Look Away, and they're the top. Funnily enough, they were my ones. I thought there was a chance Email Andy could reverse that form with Pickrock, just a slight one. I just thought he got a better run through the race, Pickrock. I know he's a bit worse off at the weights. I was impressed with Email Andy last time. Thought that was a step forward. Now, as Keels quite rightly points out, he's not that well off at the weights, and Pickrock, that is good form. It always is good form. Sam Majest is just one of those talking horses that will probably win for Willie Mullins when there's no, he can't work out why. Look Away is just a very solid horse, isn't he? I'm really real massive fan of his. He was good again last time. Was it Aintree last time? He was right back to his form. He's very, very solid, and I think he'll run well again. But I think it's between Pickrock and Email Andy.
All right, Pickrock 5-1, Email Andy 8-1. Jolly J Soy says he's on Bad, just like my jokes. Fair enough. No comeback. Absolutely. Bang on. You're spot on. Never said they were good. I just can't stop them coming out of my mouth. And I agree with Kay Mansfield a little bit. The only one that stood out to me and thought, he could blow this race apart is Kamaxos for Roger Teal and Lily Pincher. This horse has won 2 handicap hurdles at Market Races and Sandown over the past few years by 18 and 16 lengths. I thought he ran really well behind Dorian Quest. I think that form was good, as we talked about earlier on. What price Kamaxos, Mr. Stevens?
Kamaxos has been nibbled at a little bit, 22 into 18-1 as we stand, but I think this is a classic case of don't make it too difficult and unity across the panel here. Pickrock and Email Andy with the 2 to focus on, so forecast for me.
All right, there we go. Good luck with that one. Right, naps after this.
Get 50% off your first 3 months in the Racing Post Members Club. As a member, you get access to the digital newspaper exclusively available to members the night before. You'll get daily tips from the likes of Pricewise Tom Segal, Robbie Wilders and Paul Kealy, Enjoy award-winning journalism from the industry's best writers and watch replays from all British and Irish racing now available within the Racing Post app. Subscribe today and get 50% off your first 3 months.
Right, let's round off the British jump season then with 4 winning naps, shall we? See how it goes anyway. Starting off with the man to my left, Mr. Paul Kealy. Best bet, please.
Terracita, 4:45.
Terracita it is. Tom Segal.
Secret Squirrel in the opening race for me, Ross. The James Bond of the rodent world.
Okay, Secret Squirrel it is. David Stevens, what's your best bet?
It is Pick Rock in the last.
Pick Rock in the last. Okay, fair enough. I was going to go in the first, but I don't want to take Tom on because I want us to all get a winner. So I'll go Blue King Doru in the hope that Imperi Pass doesn't turn up and he waltzes around on good ground in the select hurdle. Thanks ever so much. We'll be back next week. We'll be taking our flat hats putting our flat hats on, taking the jumps hats off, and getting into draw biases and which part of the Newmarket rail they'll be exploring in the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas. So tune in for that. Like the stream if you haven't done so already, and have a great weekend.